Welcome back to the Triple Option here on 365 Sports. Paul Catalina, Royden Ogletree alongside you, watching from the comfort of wherever you're watching or listening to the show.
Not as comfortable as us, though.
No, these are very comfortable chairs. These are napping chairs, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
I've sat in the studio watching games at night.
If you put on golf right now, out.
Exactly. That BYU game last year, I think was Jacob was in here. You were in here with Levi was in here with me. Towards the end of that game, BYU and Baylor, I was like, okay, come on, guys.
Where they just were killing each other for 5 yards.
Yeah, and I had to do the post game show, and I was just like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Who's going to be watching this?
Oh my God!
But anyway, to our topic at hand.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher, CEO, head coach. This is a guy who won a national title by not being the CEO, head coach, calling plays, coaching quarterbacks. Bobby Petrino's in to do that. Jimbo's been going to defensive meetings. He's been spending more time in recruiting. All these things. A&M recruits very, very well. Jimbo's always recruited very, very well. But he has not been able to, since he's come to College Station, translate that into anything better than 1-2 loss season, and mostly 8-4 seasons, and then coming off a 5-7, where he has to totally change what he does. Can Jimbo Fisher handle that?
So CEO, head coach, meaning totally not for me, but for everyone watching. CEO, head coach, meaning controlling everything.
Yes. Look, Dabo Swinney's a CEO, head coach.
Right.
Nick Saban's a CEO, head coach.
Yeah.
Kirby Smart, they're not calling plays. Now, look, there are coaches that can call plays and win. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, and look, I do think Kirby Smart mostly calls a lot of the defensive calls for Georgia.
Yeah.
But Nick Saban's not calling individual plays. He's got coordinators. I think there comes a point in every coach's career where they maybe have to do that, where they step aside. Bobby Bowden was the greatest CEO head coach, the greatest. He had a headset that he held like this, mostly because of his big hat, but he also would just do this on the ear. He didn't have to be on it all the time. He let everybody else run things. Jimbo Fisher has maybe been holding on a little bit too tight to a lot of things, and people have figured him out. He has the same play calls now that he did in 2011.
Right, and people figured that out pretty quickly. It's like, these schemes are the same with Jameis Winston. The problem is that you just don't have Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
He's gone this long without being a CEO head coach, correct? If you would have to...
he's never been one.
Evaluate it. He's been the offensive coordinator, the offensive guru, and, they were scoring tons and tons of points. And it's gotten stale. That's why you bring in... Bobby
Petrino.
Petrino. I wanted to say Bowden, but I was like, he is long since retired.
He isn't.
But you bring in Bobby Petrino, who is a choice.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. It's off to a rocky start. I'll say that much. What is the benefit then of him trying to control everything, other than holding on to the rope after a bad season?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can he do it? Maybe, but it's not off to a great start.
Yeah. No, I do think that there are, certainly he can try, and we'll see, but he has a little bit more rope than most people do.
Well, they gave him a lifetime contract or whatever it was.
He's got this huge, gigantic buyout that doesn't drop to below $80 million until after next year.
Jeez.
And so you have a huge buyout.
The best gig in all of American sports is the college football coach that's been fired.
Yeah.
It's the best gig.
If you can, and it stings to get fired because it means you're not winning, or it means that they don't like you anymore.
Well, most of these people are megalomaniacs, so they have to be winning at something, but yes.
So, if you can get to the point, although some of the happiest people I've met are former coaches that have, they've had their success. They've come to grips with the fact that, man, this world has changed. I'm glad I'm not in it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kicking back and enjoying life, But, the Urban Meyers of the world will probably never be able to hit to that point.
That's why I never understood about the Urban Meyer thing. Is like, we want him to come back. It's like, didn't he have health problems and all of this stuff, and you're still like,
but that's what I worry,
fighting for it. You know,
that's what I worry. Like, that's what I worry is where, or think that where Jimbo Fisher might have been headed.
Yeah.
And that you hold on too tight, then it's not fun for anyone anymore. And because it worked before and you're convinced, he had a line last year where he's like, no, the plays are good, you know, and you're like, okay,
are
or were good, I'll believe. But he almost lost a national championship game because his quarterback's coach from the year before was on the other sideline, Damian Craig, and was calling out the defensive, was calling out the offense to the defense.
Yeah.
And didn't even occur to him like, oh man, in the month leading up to it, and Damian Craig works for him now at A&M. They're very close, but didn't even occur to him like, oh, hey, Damian's not here.
Right.
Where is he? Oh, the team we're playing. Maybe, just maybe.
Might be good to figure that out.
I could change the signals that we're doing because that's been Jimbo. He just does things that certain way. And A&M is the program that is the fan, like if there's a ratio of fan care to
Success.
team put out, like A&M's is the wonkiest of everybody in the country, and there's not even a second place that would be reasonable to talk about.
Oklahoma State?
Not even close.
You don't think so?
Not even close.
No, I think you're accurate. I was just making a dig, but I think the I don't know, the fan buy-in and the booster buy-in, to be completely honest, is so skewed in the inflated sense of worth in the SEC and everything else. Something has to break one way or the other. Like, you got to win something eventually. Or maybe you don't. Maybe it's just like...
It's just like, again, just being practical of how much money they spend on their program, how much money they're willing to spend beyond what they're already spending on their program, how much they've cared about what's gone into it, how much they show up for games even when things aren't going the way they want them to.
Which is commendable to a point.
Yeah, but then some of that also veers into that, like, you might have unrealistic expectations, or you can't see the forest of the trees, and you're not making. Because what I think about the Jimbo Fisher hire was maybe you just hired the biggest name who was mad at the place that he was.
Not the
best fit. Now, he seems to be almost like, and the thing is, almost a fit is still not a fit.
Yeah.
Almost a fit. Look, Jimbo Fisher's an SEC head coach. Like, there's no doubt about that, even though FSU was in the ACC. He was coaching that team like Nick. He's a Saban disciple. He was doing everything like Saban. He was doing that. For the most part, that's what he does at A&M. He just doesn't. The difference between Jimbo and Saban is that Saban will adjust.
Well, you've seen it with his offensive coordinators throughout the years. He's just like, oh, people are throwing the ball. Let me get Lane Kiffin.
He'll be snarky about it a little bit. You know, he'll be snarky about it, but sometimes it's always, and I say this a lot, Saban's like, okay, if you guys don't change this rule, then I will start.
It's the first down rule sort of thing.
But all those things, like if you don't change that rule, then I will take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because I learned from Belichick, who takes advantage of everything and pushes every line.
Yeah, the timeout rules and the punting rules and things like that.
All those things.
Yeah, those little things.
Yeah, those little things, you know. So, look, I'm sure no coach is happier right now, even though he's gone to more of a spread concept offense, than Nick Saban, that the clock rules have changed.
Yeah.
Because now he doesn't necessarily have to worry about getting in ridiculous shootouts like he was before, because you're going to lose. I mean, I think 12 plays a half was about the average in the first week.
Yeah, you're going to see less and less of people running 110 plays a game.
Yeah.
But I think with the A&M thing, in the Fisher thing, I think what it comes down to is how much does he actually trust his hires, which is a bad place to be in, I think. And all reports out of Aggieland are that, they're getting along swimmingly. Fisher, Petrino and Fisher are like
Two peas in a pod.
Yeah, and everything's going well, and he's going to let him call the play. Maybe not. It gets kind of murky when you kind of get into who's actually calling the plays. It comes down to how much does he actually trust his hires, which you can say of any coach, but specifically when it hasn't been going well for Jimbo Fisher, it gets you get in the weeds a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can kind of ruin. You can get in your own way to a point, and it feels like he's done that a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. Would you disagree? Or?
No, he's gotten his own way. I think he's his own worst enemy here.
Yeah.
In that sometimes if you do trust the people around you, everything goes a lot better because you might have good ideas, but sometimes you're the idea and they're the people who make it work, as opposed to this is my idea, we're going to do it this way and all that, as opposed to getting around the people and say, okay, I have this idea. Okay, what if we build on it like this?
Yeah, like implementation is a different thing. They've also come down to how does he evaluate quarterbacks? Yeah,
that's been a big thing.
Because I liked Haynes King coming out of Longview. I thought he was a really interesting prospect. He was 160 pounds, but
that was part of the problem.
Yeah, I just think he hasn't really evaluated a super quarterback since Jameis Winston. And that's kind of a problem, man.
Well, it's weird how things get thrown off. So Jacob Coker, who won the national title at Alabama, was Jameis Winston's backup in 2013. In 2015, when Alabama won, Jacob Coker was that quarterback. So if he had stayed at Florida State, he would have had that kind of he would have been able to build the direction that he wanted to. And early on, DeAndre Francois looked like that was the next dude, but then he got terribly injured and caught a case of the dumbasses and all those different things.
Hate it when that happens.
But he had that, but when that one thing gets thrown off, there's always one that you pull the plug, oh, no, the pipeline changed.
Yeah.
The rules change, grad transfers. Oh, look, Jacob Coker got his degree in 2.5 years, went to Alabama where he was going to start, and he would have started the same year at FSU anyway, but went and helped Saban kick the dynasty off. So dude's got 2 rings from 2 different places.
Yeah.
And
good work if you can get it.
But from that point on, though, I'll say Jacob Coker, which I'll give him credit for. Jacob Coker from on has been uneven at best. So, yeah that's got to change. Royden had a great time on the show today. We're going to have you back. You're in the rotation.
Oh,
you're in the rotation.
Oh, I thought this was a test run.
No, look, you're in the rotation. Absolutely. The people liked Royden, right, Jack? Yeah.
There's 0 comments about the people liking Royden.
There's nobody that said...
You don't have to lie to me, Jack.
Yeah. No, there were the people like Royden. People like Chris. As long as I can get people that they like maybe even more than me, they're like, hey, Paul's friends are cool. We can at least keep watching.
And we get the chair situation right.
Yeah, we would figure out. We'll take chair suggestions. Send them to Levi on Twitter at 365 Sports YT. What kind of chairs would really work here? Because we're this close to going beanbag chairs.
I was gonna say pool loungers.
Pool loungers.
Yeah, just out
just
here.
Kicked out.
Yeah.
Look, if we can do the triple option by a pool, I'm not opposed to that.
Right. That's what I thought this was.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We haven't put the pool in yet, so hasn't happened.
Hot tub.
Yeah, it's gonna go right here, right in front of the
Josh Rosen hot tub.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we might do that. We might do that.
Nobody wants to see that. There's the viewership would drop substantially.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Tomorrow, Chris Allman will be back. Thursday, Pierre Nugent. You remember Pierre? You were here back when he was here. Weren't you?
Yes.
Yes, you remember Pierre. Pierre Nugent is up in Minnesota. He's going to join us to talk Big Ten country. But again, thanks for tuning in. When you do, please stay tuned at 3 o'clock for 365